What is going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here. It's Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical. I mean, it's 5:30-ish on the East Coast, 2:30-ish on the West Coast, 4:30-ish Tennessee time. Of course, it's time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. We're back. 11-game slate going down tonight. Three-man booth, rolling everybody out tonight. Two major GPP winners over the years, 6 figures, some 7 figures. Andre and Will. I wish, of all days, I wish everybody would have heard our pre-show conversation. It was absolutely fabulous. The synopsis, basically, Andre, is that the NBA stole Will's idea for the playoffs, right? We really can't get into it, not too much because it's an 11-gamer, but that was amazing.
Yeah, pretty much Will got someone promoted drastically into the higher ranks of the NBA.
Hey, you guys are laughing, but you know it's true. You know it's true.
Somebody's very thankful for your email. We just had news break as far as the body parts in and out, just literally as we were counting down on air. Not a huge surprise. Only one team, I believe, on a back-to-back tonight. That would be Dallas, who played yesterday, just a 2-gamer, an appetizer slate yesterday. 11 games going down tonight. Dallas on a back-to-back is going to rest not just Luka, but Porzingis as well. And that's going to potentially flip this slate on its head. Of course, Orlando, Miami, Philadelphia, Chicago, New Orleans, the Clippers, Houston are on the front end of a back-to-back. And let me just fire out the other guys that are potentially in, potentially out. And I guess we're going to have to talk about Dallas soon enough. But we know Philadelphia is thin, and that kind of depends on where you're shopping. FanDuel did not get the memo, and their guys are super cheap over there. Joel Embiid is out still with those COVID protocols, as well as Ben Simmons. Devontae Graham expected back tonight for Charlotte. He will be on somewhat of a minutes limit. Bam Adebayo is still out for Miami with his knee. Let's see. Evan Fournier is out with his groin. Terrence Ross out with his. No, he's questionable. Questionable with the knee. Aaron Gordon may come back tonight. Marcus Smart is definitely coming back tonight with his calf. Devin Booker is questionable. DeLon Wright is questionable with an abductor. James Wiseman expects to play with the COVID protocol. He had a big jump minutes last game, and Kerr did note that going forward he should be seeing some more minutes. Certainly worth monitoring there as well. Houston, we have Eric Gordon's questionable. Daniel House has got a knee, so he can't play. Kevin Porter Jr., who's absolutely been annihilating and crushing the G League, playing 36 minutes a night. So, I mean, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get here with the big boys, but he's kind of sort of somewhat interesting on DK. But now we have some more value stuff, obviously, with Dallas, which we'll talk about soon enough. Chicago getting a couple guys back. Lauri Markkanen's shoulder, he's expected to play with that, as well as Otto Porter. Minnesota, another fun conversation we're going to have, especially on FanDuel. I know you guys are playing on FanDuel tonight. Ricky Rubio is going to be super chalky because Beasley's out with a suspension. McLaughlin's out for COVID protocol, and Culver is doubtful with his toe. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot doubtful with his knee. For Brooklyn, Jeff Green's got a shoulder. He's questionable. Blake Griffin's not playing just yet for him. He's out with rest. Durant's still out. Tyrese Halliburton expected back tonight with his calf. Amadou Diallo out with a groin. Derrick Rose got a COVID protocols. He's still out. We know Taj Gibson's still questionable. All the Toronto guys that are out before are still out. That's Pascal Siakam, Freddie VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, Patrick McCaw, and Terrence Davis is questionable. All right, Will, did I give you enough time? Hopefully I gave you enough time. I guess we got to start with Dallas, I suppose, right? Because the two big boys are out. They're at a back-to-back, and I assume the prices of – I have not looked at Dallas prices of the secondary pieces because I did not consider them. But, you know, this is what the slate's giving us. Talking about Dallas, what are you looking at?
Well, I mean, listen, it just opened up a whole lot. Like, we might even be able to play Boban today.
What?
Possibly. But he's not the first guy I thought of. Obviously, first guy we're going to think of is the Brunson burner. Jalen Brunson from Villanova, playing great basketball with Luka on the court. With Luka off the court, I got to assume he's going to play, really well today. And they don't have some, juggernaut defense that they have to go against, which honestly, now that Luka and Porzingis is out, it actually makes me a little bit interested in the OKC guys. Like I know, and look, this is just a typical thing. The guys have, a half of their team or two big players from their team. Obviously, you want to get some exposure to this team. But listen, this makes me a lot more interested in like SGA and then Darius Basie's going to be out too. So now, you might be able to play Al Horford or something like that. And I know these aren't sexy names, but like this is how you win tournaments like late in the year when everybody's on one thing and then, they zig, we zag. So that's kind of where I am. Obviously, like I said, my favorite play from Dallas is going to be Jalen Brunson, but now it's going to open it up for Josh Richardson. It's going to open it up for Tim Hardaway Jr. James Johnson is definitely going to get run in this game. Like definitely. It's no question about it. He got run last night a little bit. He'll probably play 25 to 28 minutes. Maxey's already playing about 30 minutes. So that's where I am. And I was trying to pull up the court IQ while I was kind of rolling here. And I just, Luka's name was eluding me as I was giving my soliloquy. But I've since got that together. Jalen Brunson is averaging 1.06 fantasy points per minute, 25% usage rate. James Johnson is at 1.13. Those guys I think are going to be fantastic plays for the slate today. And then I'm going to try, Dean, if at all possible. I'm going to try to cover DK today, and Dre, you cover FanDuel, and that way we can kind of split it. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool.
Dre, give your thoughts very quickly as far as Dallas and all the other guys we're kind of monitoring right now too. And I think more of a FanDuel thing. If Ross plays today, he's got a really solid price over there on FanDuel. DK, it's pretty much what it kind of sort of should be. Howard is too cheap on FanDuel. Tobias is way too cheap on FanDuel. Just depending on how the build works out. You can play those guys on DK as well. It's just they're not these quote unquote lock and loads. And then it also brings in the conversation on FanDuel where you only play one big, you only play one center, and if Howard gets that quote unquote value, but like it's just still not enough. Like he puts up 23 fantasy points, then raw points matter too. So if you can only roster one, maybe that value is still not good enough. But your thoughts as far as Dallas and maybe somebody we have missed as far as the questionable stuff. If Booker doesn't play, Chris Paul becomes pretty interesting there. Nice matchup against Portland. For what it's worth, our projection team currently has, and this is nothing official, but we currently have Boban starting for Dallas now. But you're right, there are plenty of. There's Powell in theory. James Johnson probably ahead of him, and Willie Cauley-Stein potentially ahead of Powell too. So they do have plenty of bigs there in Dallas still, I guess. But Boban only needs like 18, 20 minutes to get there, right? If he smashes, does his thing. Andre, your thoughts as far as Dallas, and then anything else that we may have kind of teased out there you want to elaborate on before we talk about the slate as a whole?
We'll cover the majority of it. The one player that I'm honestly was thinking about while we were trying to look into more was Trey Burke. As a good GPP play. I know last time they played OKC, he got 21 minutes, but I'm trying to think of the last time Luka was out with Porzingis and trying to find that history as far as how many minutes he got, because he might be interesting in tournaments. That's just like as a dart throw. Not like someone should be heavy on. James Johnson is going to be coming to play a lot more now. This also might eliminate some of the other other small forward plays like Minnesota, like Jake Layman, who was someone that I was considering today. And I know that's not really the greatest play. And maybe even Stanley Johnson, even though I know he's a good player, but and this one in a good match with Atlanta, but OKC is a better matchup. So you might be able to get some leverage with Josh Richardson and Dorian Finney-Smith by playing those two guys as options too. I like Tim Hardaway maybe even too to crack the starting lineup, and at 4,100, he's just too cheap. So this honestly news just changes the whole build of FanDuel for the whole night, honestly, because like I see many routes to coming in first place, and one thing I like looking at that might work is punting punting shooting guard where you have two players in the 4,000s like Tim Hardaway, and also with the Philadelphia news with Seth Curry, and they're both for an excellent matchup. So this changes everything, and it's gonna just change the whole slate where you can now possibly get like two. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get like two top tier players in your lineup tonight.
Yeah. Well, we lost one though, of course, at Luka, and now we still have we got Harden still standing, we got Giannis still standing. Giannis not a great matchup against New York.
I think it's going to make him more popular though. Like just off the fact of he's of his upside. So I expect him to be extremely more popular. Harden should become more popular, but I don't know how much more. People might just try to pivot down to Luka. Not Luka, Damian Lillard. Vucevic also too. I know he's not in the best matchup as far as with Miami, but that upside is still there with them. And obviously Cat going against New Orleans, that might garnish a little bit of more deviate a little bit more ownership towards him too.
Yeah, I think that's a good name to throw out there. And Minnesota in general, the way New Orleans has been playing, 237.5 total. Minnesota horrific defensively as well too. New Orleans 122 total here. Will 11 gamer. You don't have to game stack stuff obviously, but this is an interesting place to do it. And you got some cheap stuff in Minnesota outside of Cat obviously. Zion should not be stopped here on the Minnesota side. Ingram's perfectly fine. Bledsoe is kind of a secondary play as well as Lonzo Ball for me. Redick not playing doesn't seem like a major issue, but I think it solidifies the minutes for guys like Bledsoe, guys like even like a Hart or something like that. But I don't know how much we need these players with all this value opening up. But that makes the argument, especially in FanDuel, where DK as well too. But that one center, Cat can put up 65, 70, and when Minnesota State keeps this game close, he kind of sort of has to. And then there's Ricky Rubio, who's 6K on DK, who's fine, but he's like 4-7 on FanDuel, and who wants to play a chalky Ricky Rubio at 11-game slate? But Minnesota is thin, and he probably plays about 30 minutes or so. It seems like a reasonable guess. Your thoughts, Bill? Minnesota in general, maybe a game stack as far as the New Orleans side as well.
Yeah, I mean, initially I wasn't really on that game in terms of stacking. I just liked a couple pieces. Like I like Ricky Rubio, but I don't want to pay 6K for Ricky Rubio on DK.
Yeah,
I just don't think. I don't even think it's necessary, right? Like, in my opinion, so here's the thing. On DK, it's already a Stars and Scrubs site anyway. Like it's nothing like FanDuel where you kind of want to, maybe kind of have a stud, some mid-range, one or two values, nothing like that, right? So for me on DK, I think you just go with the Stars and Scrubs bill like it's already set up for and go from there. And for me, that's not going to include Ricky Rubio at 6K, who, while he can get me 40-plus points, I think it's more reasonable that he gets me 28 to 35 points. And even if he gets 35, I can overcome that because, when you take a look at this point guard position today, I mean, you really do have some guys that you're going to be able to play. Like if you're asking me right now, do I want to play Ricky Rubio or Jalen Brunson straight up? I'm taking Jalen Brunson every time. Like, there's no reason for me to play him. If you're asking me if I want to take Shake Milton or Rubio, believe it or not, maybe I'm a little bit more on the fence with that one. But I think I'd just take the savings and play Milton. You've got Jalen Noel at 3,900, who, while we don't think he's probably going to outscore Rubio, if this game gets out of hand, like we've got Jalen Noel projected for 25 minutes. I think Jalen Noel plays 28 to 30 minutes. Wow. So I just think there's too many other options that you can get away with at point guard for me to settle in with Ricky Rubio. I think I'd even be more inclined to play Elfrid Payton. And I know that sounds crazy too, but Derrick Rose is out, and we've got him at 28 minutes. And I know there's Quickly's there, and I know Burks is there, but I mean the last time he played 35 minutes against Detroit, 33 minutes against Golden State, that was in February. But with no Derrick Rose, I think he's going to play more like 32 to 35 minutes. So I don't dislike Rubio in a nutshell, but I'm saying for the price on DK, I don't want to pay that.
The Elf Payton one's so weird. I guess you would say Tom Thibodeau, but that was the last game, I believe, before the All-Star break, and he hadn't played the previous 4 because of a hamstring, and he goes out there and plays, 34, 35 minutes. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. What are you doing there, Thibodeau? But that's just kind of his history, and that's the sort of what he does, and maybe he plays 35 again tonight. Maybe. I don't know. I suppose you're going to run it back with the Giannis and Yeller side. Hey, should we talk about Atlanta? And I know it's a 2-game sample, but McMillan, defensive-minded coach, and Atlanta's been playing, I think they were the second slowest team. 2-game sample, Andre. That's all we have with it. But Atlanta's been really, really slow. This is DK specific. I did have Bogdan Bogdanovic. I think he's going to play between 20 and 28 minutes. He's still super cheap over there. I thought he was kind of interesting to kind of make things work on DK, and I don't know if I'm going to need him anymore. I have not built anything on the fly, but my shell lineup pre-show, he was in it. Is that a real thing going forward with Atlanta? You think they're going to be a defensive-minded team and kind of a fraudulent good matchups for the short term because people are going to think, well, it's Atlanta, let's play everybody against Atlanta.
I would expect them to be going forward, but it's going to be hard to tell. We're going to need a bigger sample size because the matchup they had was against Miami twice, and we know Miami is not one of the faster teams. It's also one of the slower teams in the league too. So that's something I would probably want a bigger sample size more to see. But I would expect it being that it is Nate McMillan and what he's known for over the years, as far as being more defensive minded coach and teaching them the young players on how to play defense. So. And Bogdanovich, he's still going to be a good play with Toronto missing their guys. It's just that I don't know if he's going to be a better play as opposed to like any of the Dallas value now. That's where it's going to get a little bit tricky.
We're going to pull up our projections shortly. Let's give the projection team some time to work on it.
Let me interject right there, Dean, because here's what I think. Just kind of looking at the slate, we basically got two teams that are pretty much chock full of value. You got Philly. And you got Dallas now. And, like, you're just going to have to weigh out. I don't think it's I lean one team or the other. I think it's who do I think is the best value and just go from there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know a lot of times, maybe we think about building from the bottom up to see what we have. This is probably one of those states where maybe you build from the top down. You just take a stand on your guy. So maybe my guy is James Harden. Just as an example. I said, hey, my guy's Harden tonight. I'm hitting the lock button. And now you say, okay, now how do I build around Harden? Is it palatable for me to take Harden and Giannis? Or is it more palatable for me to maybe take Harden and like Jason Tatum on the other side? Like, you know what I'm saying? You just kind of you just make those decisions.
Nobody's playing Tatum versus Brooklyn, which I think is interesting. At least that's as far as I can tell. You guys, Andre, you have any thoughts as far as that game? Because I know Smart is back, but go ahead.
Well, now I don't mind taking GVP shots with him with that game and that total and how Brooklyn's been playing over the season. So and now with this, like I said, with all this value now, you can get up at power forward now to a Tatum. You can do like a double spend it by power forward and get some Tatum. But it's just hard because I really do like Zion a lot for $100 more. So I'm more inclined to go that route. But it's not out of the option and not out of the realm of possibilities.
Don't want to alarm anybody, but we have a couple more. So John Wall is downgraded to questionable, midday downgraded to questionable with his knee. Okay, if he doesn't play, Oladipo for sure is interesting, and there are a bunch of wings. I guess House is still out too. I haven't really explored the wings there on Houston, but I would imagine they'd be fairly thin. And Darius Baisley is not playing tonight with his shoulder. So does that move the needle for you, Will?
Yeah, I mentioned that, Dean. That's why I was saying we might be able to look at Horford or something like that, because with Baisley being out, now you got Horford and you basically got Roby. Those are kind of your big guys. Like, I know Muscala's there, but I don't expect him to play a whole lot of minutes. But I definitely think Horford is probably a little bit more in play. Like I said, SGA as well. Yeah, man. I think the build tonight is you just got to decide which stud you want. Like, for instance, on DK, I might lean Kawhi over Harden tonight. Like Kawhi is 8,900, man. Like that's getting in like must play territory. Like, if he drops 60, forget it. Like, you're done. You're gonna have to have him on this slate to win a tournament. And I mean, I'm looking at the ownership on him right now. That it could change, but I mean, we've got Kawhi we had him at 11%. That's where he's at right now, 11.3. I'm going to refresh. Just want to check and see if we've got a bump on him since the news has come out. And no, he's still at 11.3%. I think Kawhi is one of the better plays. I actually think Jimmy Butler's one of the better plays on DK at 9,500. While that might feel uncomfortable, Jimmy Butler's just been cranking out 50-plus point fantasy performances really most of the season since he's been healthy. So, these are kind of some of the guys I would maybe look at and not just look at. I'm just telling you right now, I'm playing these guys. These are guys I'm playing. And so if you kind of take those value guys, maybe you get away from the very, very top. And if Kawhi drops 50, anywhere between 50 and 60, and Jimmy drops anywhere between 50 and 60, you get some of your value guys in the 30s. One of them hits 40. Like, that's how you take down a tournament. It's how it works. So I that's kind of where I am. Norman Powell is crunching at 16%. I don't want you to think I'm all over the place. I'm just looking at ways to get these lineups built around the value, right? And so you just kind of identify who are the guys that I really, really, really like, and then you just start filtering in the value around there. But yeah, that's where I am. Hopefully this is helping the people on DK, just trying to kind of give them some construction ideas.
You mentioned Powell. He feels like he's kind of sort of somewhat fully priced, and he's got to get there by scoring points in the bucket, but he's been doing it. He's been great, and that team is thin. And, you can speak to this, Andre, as well. We were talking about, Will was mentioning, and you can kind of add on. We were talking about teams that are thin today, and you can add Toronto to the conversation. You can add Minnesota to the conversation on top of Dallas. And on top of who is the other team we were talking about on top of Philadelphia. And again, I think the Philadelphia players stand out more on FanDuel than they do on DK. You can still play them there, but like Curry and FanDuel's got a really solid price. Howard's got a great price. You can play him on DK, but again, things are certainly changing as well as far as Dallas. But your thoughts there, Andre, as far as Toronto, because we're getting big price tags on Lowry and a big price tag on Powell. I think the center conversation is pretty interesting as far as Baines, in theory, can get there, or Boucher is a lot of fun. He's a power forward on FanDuel. You can roster him 6.5K, I believe, on both sites. And then are there just some games or some teams you're just crossing out? Because I have some. But your thoughts there, Andre?
Well, OKC was one of the teams I was crossing out earlier today, but I'm gonna have to have some of them now. With Baisley being out, and now that whole game just looks a little bit interesting now. But getting back to what you were saying about with Toronto, Norman Powell, I know is 7.5 on FanDuel, and he's 16% on DK at 7.2. He's still a good play. He's getting about 40 a night. I don't see why you wouldn't have him still and play him. He's going to get the shots. He's going to get the touches. He's going to get the looks, and they're still thin. And he's going to play the minutes. Most importantly, which if it's a competitive game too, I would expect him to be around 40 minutes and taking the shots. And he's been great all year. And Chris Boucher, I think he is like one of the best plays honestly on the slate tonight. GPP wise, it's just he's getting a little bit of ownership. I don't know if that's going to change a little bit depending on all the news that's breaking now, but he with that, like I said, with him getting 34 minutes was, I guess, comforting last time before the break happened. So I'm interested to see if that's going to happen again, especially with Boston, especially going against Atlanta, because they have two bigs. They have who do they play? They play Capella and Collins. So, and obviously with Baines, they played both of them together a lot last game too, which was interesting. So I think that's something that I would look for and target Toronto guys a lot. I think like going with like a mid-range type of build would be sort of contrarian too tonight.
Terrence Ross officially ruled out, which I think
is my gosh.
Well, I mean, who steps up though? Because Ennis is not there. Who's going to play now for Orlando, and do we care?
It's kind of interesting now too, because
Bacon?
Does that game stay close now? Like, what do you guys think with that? Does that game stay close?
Look, if Aaron Gordon doesn't play, Michael Carter Williams is going to have to go back to Rookie of the Year. Michael Carter Williams from Philly, seriously, like I'm not kidding. Like, he's going to have to take more shots. The ball should be in his hands a little bit more because when Fournier plays, Fournier has the ball in his hands. A little bit sometimes. So, like, I don't like they're not going to have anybody. Like, who's going to score the basketball? Al-Farouq Amino is not a scorer of the basketball. He can shoot a little bit. I think Al-Farouq Amino will probably play. Dwayne Bacon is going to play big minutes. Like, Dwayne Bacon might play 40 minutes today. Like, seriously. Chuma Okeke, he's probably going to play. Gary Clark's probably
on DK. I think it's interesting. I don't know how much you need that, but it's just interesting, worth noting.
Gary Clark's probably going to get some minutes. I think Michael Carter Williams. I don't like him as much on DK because he's 6K, but I mean, we've just most recently seen him put up 40. Like, I would be willing to roll the dice on Michael Carter Williams tonight at 6K on DK. It feels uncomfortable until you think about the fact that he might take 20 shots.
Very first game of the NBA, I remember watching it. MTW hit a triple-double against Miami, who they're playing tonight. There you go. He played for Philadelphia back when Philadelphia was horrendous. I'm not playing anybody in the Bulls tonight. They're getting two guys back. And no, it's too big of a slate. Can Levine get there? Could he put up 45 points? Sure. Their defense is hurting the other side as far as Philadelphia with the absence of Embiid. But I'm not playing a bull. That's the plan. Is anybody with me?
I kind of like Zach tonight, and I definitely like Kobe White. And they're missing two of the probably the best top 10 defensive players in the NBA tonight, Philadelphia. So I like to target things like that in those type of situations. So I understand that the prices are probably a little bit higher up on those guys, but and you got the guys you got marketing coming back, and you got Porter coming back. But I don't know if they're going to play in I want to know how many minutes they're going to play. I don't know if they're going to play their full allotment of minutes. So I like taking chances with them in GPPs a little bit, not being heavy on them, but moderate, about probably a little bit over the field. So probably half of that. So for instance, right now I think we got Zach LaVine is at 2%. I probably would go 8%, and you're still going to be in good shape and not getting heavy exposure to him. And then we got where's the oh goodness gracious, I can't. Where is he?
Who are you looking for?
Kobe White. Kobe White is
nobody's. Oh,
he no one's playing him, so it's easy to get over the field on him just in itself. So I like taking a little bit of stance and stats on him. That's only if you're playing 150 lineups or a good amount of lineups.
I did a terrible job. I did not say hello to the chat. What up, YouTube? Feel free to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I see those questions being asked already. Devin, our multitasking producer, has been compiling them. He's going to be firing my way. If we've not talked about any player that you guys want us our thoughts on, because again, you can't talk about everybody, especially in 11 game slate. Ask a question. Ask us about a broader question as far as a slate, or this guy or that guy. That'll do as well too. We'll knock those out the last 15 minutes or so of the stream. Do you want to mention?
Can I hop back in on Orlando real quick?
Go for it.
Because I looked up some information. Look, it's small sample size. I'm not getting into it. Guys have played 9 minutes, 19 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Small sample. But they've got such an extreme lack of bodies, and I know I'm going to venture over to FanDuel real quick. Vooch is 9,900, and it's a little expensive because you've got Howard and Olynyk down there. But with all this value, I think it's probably worth it to spend up for Vooch at this point. If Orlando's going to win this game, so here's the thing: Bam Adebayo is not playing. Who in the world is going to stop Nikola Vucevic seriously from Miami?
Precious.
I mean seriously. Nobody's going to stop Vooch. They're probably going to run some high pick and roll with him and Michael Carter Williams most of the game. What sets are they going to be running for guys to take 3-pointers? None of their 3-point shooters are playing. Terrence Ross isn't playing. Fournier isn't playing. I think it's going to be high pick and roll all night long. They're going to stuff, Dwayne Bacon will probably be in a corner somewhere. Al-Farouq Amino will probably be in a corner somewhere. And it's going to be Michael Carter Williams and Nikola Vucevic running high pick and roll. Vooch is probably one of their better 3-point shooters now that I'm thinking about it. I'm not trying to say that, we need to be going all in on Orlando. But what I am saying is Vooch, to me, might be the strongest upside play on the slate at that price, considering he's going to have to do everything. And then now I will bring up my very, very small sample size. Vooch is averaging 2.20 fantasy points per minute in 9.8 minutes with all those guys up the court. Super small sample size. But if he plays 35 to 38 minutes and is averaging 2 points a minute, you do the math. He's on his way to 70. I'm not saying 70, but 60 is in the cards for Vooch tonight. This is going to totally change the way I'm thinking about building. And I know I'm hogging it up, guys. I like to talk strategy and theory, but here's what I'm saying. On FanDuel, I got to think most people were already planning on playing Dwight Howard or Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah.
Just based on the ownership. Well, now you got all this value in the other spots, and nobody's going to be playing Vooch. Vooch is in play, man. Big time in play.
I think you're playing Cat over Vooch, I think.
Not me. Not with this scenario. No way.
Yeah. What's your thoughts there, Dre, as far as center specific? And yeah, if you could only pick one as far as the cheapie, Howard versus Kelly O, and then the big spend, Cat versus Vooch.
See, yeah, I like Kelly Olynyk just because of the minutes he's going to get. And yeah, just because of the minutes he's going to get. And Dwight Howard, we don't know what role he's going to play. Granted, the upside is higher with him, but you still never know. His price is a little bit more affordable, but I also like getting a little bit different too. And then when it comes to spending up top, after Chiefs like little rant, I guess, about Vucevic and Orlando having a short amount of bodies, and there's no one up front really to guard him. So like I like that, especially if you can run it back with Jimmy. And if that game stays competitive, that's not a bad play. So it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. But in GPPs, Vucevic's definitely over Towns right now. And there's a $400 difference, and I would say Olynyk over Howard based on not knowing what Doc is going to do and how many minutes Howard is really going to get.
Yeah, the chat's talking about Capella as well too. We're kind of in the middle, like a little more on the spend up side. But yeah, I think Capella is interesting because he's always a guy, especially if he's on the right side of variance as far as the stocks. He can rack up 60 points pretty quickly with a combination of 7 dunks and like 20 boards. Do you want to mention? Hopefully these have not expired due to the injuries. The guys that are in and out. As far as our Monkey Net Fight promo, you guys pick some winners for the people. 100% deposit bonus up to $50. Use the promo code Grinders. Going to go ahead and drop in chat for the guys. That's GRINDERS as far as the promo code. Will, has your pick expired or is it still good? Who'd you have as far as over?
No, we're still good, man. I had Trae Young and I had Kyle Lowry. I thought that was a really, really soft line on Lowry today at 41.5. If my memory is serving me correctly, which I'm pretty sure it is, at 41.5. And I think we had Trae at maybe around 45.5 or 46.5, one of those. Either way, I took the over on both. I do think Trae still has really good upside. Now, I wasn't as fond of his price on DK. So let me get that out of the way because Monkey Knife Fight does cater to FanDuel scoring. So that's kind of where I'm headed there. And Trae at 46.5 on, for FanDuel scoring, I thought that was big time. Now, look, Trae does have these really bad turnover games from time to time, but Toronto's not playing great defense right now, and they're going to be up and down. It's going to be an up and down game. So I think Trae, 46.5, I definitely think he can get there, especially with some of those bodies still being out.
All right. Andre, you got somebody for us?
Yeah, my plays were in that Philadelphia game. I like Zach LaVine. I picked points today, so I picked Zach LaVine to go over, I believe, 27.5 points. And I picked Tobias Harris to go over 29 points, if I'm correct. I like that game as a whole. I'd like that he's going to have to step up for Tobias Harris and play big time. 24.5 points for Tobias. I just looked at it just now. So I like that. And then, like I said, Zach LaVine, 27.5. It's a risk, I know, but there's no reason why he shouldn't, especially, like I said, with no defense, with the two of the top, like I said, 5 to 10 defensive players in the league missing, is no reason why he shouldn't be able to get that.
Yeah, I will say Thibault might get some extra run. He's a good defender. I'll just throw that out there, but I hear what you're saying. Okay. I also want to mention Scores and Odds Premium. You get the promo code. We'll go ahead and drop that in chat as well, too. 5 days of SAO Scores and Odds Premium for $5. Offer is available through March 22nd. Just in time for March Madness, which I don't get excited about. Hey, if you guys like it, have at it, enjoy it. But I don't partake. It's not for me. All right. Nobody cares what my college basketball takes. Oh, all right. Well, let's turn the show over to the chat. Last 15 minutes, give or take. Devin's compiling. I will play the role of Devin. I'll ask the questions. Will, you're going to answer you're going to answer DK. Andre, you got the FanDuel stuff. Going to pull up some of the questions now, and I'm sure some more will be rolling in, taking you guys up to 20 after. Hand it over to Crunch Time. Of course, you guys want Crunch Time, you got to have RG Premium. How do you get that? You get $10 off your first month. It's $10. I don't think it's a promo code. It's a promo code. If it is, it's in chat. Devin will let you guys know. I just forgot. I have not done the show for a week. I completely forgot everything. You can get it a la carte, just basketball, just one sport. You can get all the sports as well. Is the chat making fun of me? I'm not really sure what's going on.
I'm laughing at you, Dean.
Yeah, well, fair enough. It's well deserved. So, hey, the first question we're at the gate, and this is weird because they say, Andre in Chief, there's 3 people on the show. This is Big T's burner, by the way. That's the person asking the question. Andre in Chief, what's your Yahoo GPP play of the day? So basically, anybody but Dean, give me your Yahoo play of the day. And I actually did Yahoo rankings today, but I mean, I'm happy to give an answer.
Listen, I will say this. Don't look now. I'm not sure how Dean's doing this year, but typically at the end of the year, Dean does typically finish at the top of these rankings. So just to put that out there, I think right now, in terms of Yahoo rankings, it's probably. I'm going to look at the pricing right now. I think you got to play Jalen Brunson at $16. Like at this point, he's just a lock and load. Like he's probably going for at least 30 minimum.
I'll say Oladipo is interesting at 28 because either way, he's a fine play. But if Wall doesn't play at $28 for Oladipo, he's a stellar play. And that's a late game, so you might not get news on it.
And And then my secondary, I was going to give out a secondary because that was the value play. I'm going to give out two secondaries. My first secondary is Chris Paul at $27. Like, listen. So first of all, Chris Paul's been like a 40-point machine almost most of the season now, especially leading up in the All-Star break. Like he's been well over 40. And I'm going to give out a sneaky one, Dean. This is my sneaky one because you know everybody's going to play Jalen Brunson, and Elfrid Payton is $14. 14 with
Nobody's
no
playing.
Derrick Rose.
No one's playing him.
I like it. And he's getting no ownership. He's at 1% right now, like no ownership. And essentially, he could be Jalen Brunson tonight. He could put up 35. And anyway, that's where I'm at for my Yahoo sneaky plays. I gave out 3. So that's Jalen Brunson, Chris Paul at 27, and then Elf Payton at 14.
You got anything on Yahoo, Andre? You want to? We can move on if you want. That's 3. That's
well, yeah. Jalen Brunson. Looking at it real quick, he's too cheap now with everything that's going on. Shake Milton's another good one too. At $10, that you can't pass him. And Dwight Howard, $10. I think that's too cheap for him. And I know I'm not in love with him a lot on Oh wow, I'm not in love with
19.
Yeah, Boucher's 19. Yeah, that's a good play too. I would play him
40.
too.
All right, DK, single into Toronto Red thoughts on Trey. This is for Will. You got DK. Trey Young.
I don't like Trey on DK.
Let's see. FanDuel is smart underpriced. Andre, is he going to play full minutes? I don't think he's playing, right?
They just said he's playing 20 to 22 minutes. I wouldn't play him at all today.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. Too, kind of crossing him off. All right, we're sticking with you, Andre. FanDuel tournaments. Rank these Dallas players: THJ, DFS, and Maxi Kleber.
THJ, Kleber, DFS.
Yeah. Will, if you have a thought as well, feel free to chime in. This is just sort of, I think, just the names in general. As far as the cheapies in Dallas.
I'd probably go THJ, Kleber, DFS. Like if I had to go right off the top of my head.
Andre?
Oh yeah, I said THJ, Kleber, and then DFS.
I thought you were like thinking and they consider.
Oh no, I said it. I know no one heard me.
No, I heard you. I thought you were just kind of like, okay, that one, and like debating, and then no, that was actually your answer.
Yeah.
But Bogdanovich won't have a minutes limit today. That's interesting. I don't know what he can play, but he probably doesn't start, but maybe he gets to 28 or so. And again, I don't know how much we need him on DK at 3.5, but kind of, sort of, somewhat interesting. Let's jump back to the questions we have. If I can find my page once again. I don't like this question at all, Will. I don't like it. I don't want anybody here. They're asking Devontae Graham, who should be on a minutes limit, Lou Will, or Quickly. I'm not playing any of these guys.
Yeah, I think we can find better value than that on this slate.
Andre, any of those? Graham, Lou Will, Quickly?
Yeah, they're getting too cute. Maybe Lou Will, if anything, but no.
Okay. I do understand Quickly because Rose is out, but still, I don't think he's necessary.
I mean, if Elf is 2%, what's Quickly? It's
probably more than Elf.
Yeah.
Ironically,
it might
weird.
be.
Nobody likes Elf for whatever reason. All right, so this is for DK specific, but I guess it can be for anything. Will, you can answer. Game stack that's not Dallas or Philadelphia. Do you have a game stack you like?
Honestly, probably Boston, Brooklyn. Nobody's really on it seemingly as a stack, but I mean, we've seen these games go anywhere in the 240, 250 range. What if you played Harden, Irving, and Tatum today? You can do it, and just play those 3 and go to town. I still think this is a high upside game.
You have a game stack thought there, Andre?
Yeah, I was debating about this all day. I'm still thinking about it a little bit more, but I kind of like that late game, that Houston Sacramento game. I think it's sneaky, especially now that John Wall might get ruled out. That's just going to open up more. And Sacramento shouldn't blow them out too. So I think that's going to be a sneaky game stack that go over the field for sure.
We haven't mentioned Dame Lillard. Just he's playing basketball tonight. It's worth noting, I suppose. Not a great matchup there against Phoenix, but Booker also questionable. There's 3 late night games, right? Booker is questionable tonight. We talked about Wall being questionable. That can open up Oladipo. Gordon, I think, is questionable too. And I mean, then all of a sudden, you're not. Kevin Porter Jr. can be pretty interesting on DK. He was playing 34 minutes a night, I think, in the G League and crushing. I know the G League is whatever, but it's the Kings, which is not that well. I'm sure distinctly better, but they're the worst of the NBA essentially. All right, let's jump back to more questions here. We are compiling them. So give me a cheapie on FanDuel. Do you want Korkmaz or do you want Bacon? Who do you prefer amongst the 3.5 stone minimum guys?
Out of those two?
Yeah.
Out of those two is going to be Bacon. I would lean more towards just because of the situation with lesser bodies. But either one of them, I'd rather personally take a shot kind of on like a Trey Burke, honestly, which I've been thinking about since I heard the news with Dallas, and I think he might go a little bit. Well, he's going to definitely go under own for sure, but I kind of like Trey Burke a little bit tonight more than both of them.
Will, amongst these three, do you like any of these three? I don't think I do. Josh Jackson, Wiggins, or Hero. They're all whatever. Not Josh Jackson.
Yeah. I don't really like any of them. I mean, I think Hero's okay, but it's not like, they're not must plays, man.
Terrence Davis available to play. Oh, I will say this: the first game, I'm almost definitely playing nobody. There's only one game at 7:00, and I want to buy some information. And I don't think who do I have to have? And that Detroit.
Well, D, that's always your claim to fame, D. You always fade the very first game, and on this particular slate, I think I'm with you, man. I don't think you have to have anybody to win a GPP here. Now, I don't know about these 7:30 games. I hope you're not trying to push it to 8 o'clock.
Oh no, I'm definitely gonna jump in there, and I like to, we're doing a show. I like to buy. I handle my teams too, so I kind of buy myself more time. By the way, Will, you'll be excited to know this is just for you. Zeller apparently is now starting and not Bismack Biyombo.
Thank you. That sounds more like we want to go to the playoffs. I sure appreciate it. Thank you, Coach Borrego.
I think Grant is playable, I suppose, in Detroit, but we're expecting Wright to be back, and that's just kind of going to muck things up with the, DSJ and all. Detroit's got a ton of bodies, and I don't know. Andre, do you have thoughts on Detroit, Charlotte? I'm just hoping it doesn't go to double overtime.
Yeah, only players I really like. It's hard to peg anyone from Charlotte just because you got everyone coming back. I know Grant's probably gonna be on a minutes limit, so I'm not really high on them. I like Plumlee kind of low key a little bit today too, as a little bit of a sneaky mid range option for center. So that's the only person I could see myself getting to. Maybe Gordon Hayward on FanDuel at 7.2. That he's clearly like an AK player, and he at 7.2 he can still smash that price, but not many players really.
Did anybody want to give an Aaron Baines thought? We kind of touched on it before, but they're asking about it again. It's
no Baines. Dean, did I hear your house phone off, turn on off the? Is that something?
I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I heard it.
You have good ears. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, D let his house phone off the hook. And I'm giving this analysis, and I'm like, do I hear something going on in my headphones?
I don't know why it won't stop beeping.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, D left his house phone off the hook. What in the world?
But that was so it wouldn't ring. But yeah, I know that I shouldn't have one of those. Yeah. I get it. Anyways, Aaron Baines, is he a house phone or is he a rotary phone? Yeah.
I can't see myself playing Aaron Baines tonight, honestly. I'd rather play obviously Boucher or go with some other centers.
All right, this is FanDuel. So Andre, Boucher and Curry, those two, Boucher and Seth Curry versus Bagley and THJ. Which two do you prefer?
Ooh, Boucher and Curry.
All right, who wants to rank these? Will, you rank these. Patton for Houston, Dwight Howard, and Kelly O. I think Patton's going to be third amongst the popular.
Yeah, I think for me it's Kelly O first. He's got stable minutes. Then Dwight, then Patton, because I think Dwight has more upside, even though Patton could play a few extra minutes. But yeah, I definitely think it's that. And then Dean, let me just say, I know there's some racist stuff going on in the chat. Listen, guys, it's not going to bother me. I'm going to keep doing my work. God bless you all. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Hope it's fantastic. And come back and see us anytime. We'll be here giving analysis on Thursdays. Me, Dean, and Andre. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you. All right, Dean, let's go.
I'm glad I'm not watching chat, but yeah, obviously we don't stand for that. Devin is feeding me the question, so he's editing them out for me. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Hello?
Any viability? We talked about Kevin
my
Porter
headphones
for tournaments. Kevin Porter. Anybody taking a shot? We have no idea how many minutes he's going to play, but he has played a ton in the G League. In theory, he can go, and they might be thin, depending on some information that might drop later on tonight. Kevin Porter, anybody?
I don't hate Kevin Porter as a flyer, but like I think John Wall would have to be out for me. I don't think I want to play him if Wall is in. But if he's out, I think Porter is definitely a guy you consider. I saw an interview with David Fisdale talking about when Cleveland sent him to Houston, and the fact that Cleveland felt like they just, they liked him, but they couldn't really get enough out of him. And it's kind of, they sent him to Houston. I think the coach from Cleveland knows the coach in Houston, and so Houston is hoping they can kind of get the best out of him. So they're believing in him, and so I think they want to see what they have. So if Wall is out, I definitely think Porter's in play.
All right. DK tournament, Korkmaz versus Boban. This is for you, Will. They already have 3 Dallas players. And we're not even certain if Boban's starting, but we're projecting it that way. But again, we'll wait. We'll see.
Yeah, I definitely think Korkmaz plays 25 to 28 minutes. I think Boban has more upside. That's when I would honestly answer after 7 o'clock to see if we could get the starting news. But if I had to take it right now, I do trust Korkmaz's minutes more than Boban's minutes, like at 6:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm sticking with you, Will. More DK stuff. Tournaments. Any thoughts on Claxton, who's like definitely better than Jordan, but like, he's not a veteran, and I think the players like Jordan.
Yeah, I think Claxton might be reaching today. He's been playing well in limited minutes, but I think that might be a reach, especially if Jeff Green comes back, right? If Jeff Green's back in the fold, like I don't see Claxton playing 20 minutes.
He is questionable. Last I saw, Tyler Gibson is available to play basketball tonight. So if you were considering a Nerlens, you got to cross him off the board for me. We didn't even talk about Noel. It's just so much good stuff going on, and he potentially could have played 40 minutes tonight. Now he's probably going to play 33.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Are you with us,
Andre? Yeah, my mic, my headphones went out. Sorry.
You got a thought on Kemba Walker? I don't think I'm playing him this evening.
Yeah, I don't think I'm playing him either tonight. He there's too many point guard options to play him.
This is DK specific, a price specific too. $4,100 or less. Who do you have for me there, Will?
Oh man, let's see here, Dino. We're gonna roll. You said 48 or 47?
I said 4-1. At least I meant to.
Oh, 4,100 or less. Ooh.
Yeah, that changes things.
Honestly, maybe Aminu, like El Farouk Aminu, Dwayne Bacon, Jalen Noel.
I like it. I think I like Noel the most out of that group.
And then you got Korkmaz at 3,600 as well. And we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel, but I think those guys are a good collection.
We had projected Mike Scott drawing the start there, the 5 for Philadelphia. Does that change things as far as Howard and if Scott does start? We've seen it before, and of course, there's also Bradley is another big that's lurking as well too. If we see Howard not starting, are we just not playing Howard, Andre?
No, I think you can still play Howard, but it's going to be tougher because I think his minutes are not going to be guaranteed regardless. As far as I get 20, we got 23 right now currently. I would probably expect him to play like his normal role then at that point around like 15 to maybe 18 minutes the most. So that kind of changes his projection. I feel like a little bit.
I guess Poku got called up. We're giving Poku a projection tonight. I'm seeing in a refresh. Don't play him. But okay, I guess he's back with the team there for OKC. Hey, Will, we never asked you about, we got to go. Crunch time's coming up. But we never asked you, I never asked you about, you locking anybody in tonight? That's your move. Who are we locking in?
Yeah, man. So on DK, for me, I think it's Kawhi Leonard at 8,900. I think I'd be willing to just hit the lock button. Let's go. Like, he's 8,900, man. He could get you 48, and you could still squeak out a tournament win with him getting you 48. And then on FanDuel, which I know I was talking about DK, but on FanDuel, it's Tobias Harris, man. 6,900. You just you have to do it. Don't be crazy. Just put him in. Even if he gets 38, you can still win a tournament. You know what I'm saying? He's too cheap. You have to put him in. It is what it is.
Andre, somebody you're planning on being significantly overweight on in comparison to the field?
Well, yeah. Well, now the new projections updated. Zion was someone I was looking at being significantly over the weight on the field, probably about like 50%, if not a little bit more, than my lineups. And Chris Paul, he's not even getting owned really enough. I plan on being significantly over the weight on the field on him too.
All right, up against the clock. Do appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you for participating. Most of you for participating there in chat. Out all of you. That was Andre. That was Will. Thank you, Devin, for producing the show. Stay tuned for Crunch Time. You get Andy Means. You got Squirrel Patrol. You got Kevin Roth. That was basketball. That was Dean. We're out of here. Holler.